Hey, everybody, this is So Many Sequels. I'm Josh.
I'm Andrew.
I'm Garrett.
And I'm David.
Welcome to the show. So many sequels again, all over.
Final pick a pit.
Yes. Yes.
Oh my God.
Our final Brad Pitt episode of the month,
Uh,
of the season.
And what could be the first of many actor-themed, months.
Could be.
One next month, but you know what I mean.
enjoyable departure from our normal review.
Different version of a franchise, the actor as franchise.
Yeah.
Right. So today's movie was picked via the fans.
Our people.
Yes, our people who follow us on social media, which of course, again, is Instagram, TikTok, Facebook, Twitter, Letterboxd, all those, and our Discord, of course, which you can get access to on our Patreon. You can find it all. Google So Many Sequels or go to our website, somanysequels.com. But anyway, we put out some polls, some options for everyone to vote on, and you all voted, and it was a very close call. I believe this movie won by just one vote, and that is Burn After Reading. We will be talking about Burn After Reading today, just narrowly beating out Moneyball. That was a big one for him. I think he got an Oscar nomination for that, didn't he?
I
look at Andrew because he should know.
That up.
Yes.
One day, maybe we'll get to Moneyball then just for the sake of it. But today, it's Burn After Reading, which came out in 2008. Not exactly a, full-on Brad Pitt movie. He's certainly a big part of it, but it's more of an ensemble situation, I guess. So I think I'm going to have Garrett explain this movie because you almost picked it anyway.
Yeah.
And so that feels like the right move. So lead us into it.
Burn After Reading is a very weird watch. It's a story kind of about nothing, about a bunch of idiots being absolute idiots in an absurd situation of idiots being idiots. And the only person who makes any sense in this movie at any point in time is J.K. Simmons, who just delivers his wonderful couple of minutes of monologue. You've got John Malkovich, who is a relatively low-level government agent who gets laid off for whatever reason. He decides to write a memoir. His memoir. Yada, 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 gets lost at a gym. A bunch of gym employees who are straight up idiots think that it's very deep level Russian secrets or American secrets, try to sell it to the Russians, all in an attempt to get past. Yeah. And then idiocy just continues to ensue from there. I've always really enjoyed this movie, and I haven't seen it in a really long time, but I remember just finding it so stupidly funny. I mean, they are just some of the dumbest people and some of the worst people. I mean, George, and it's nice to see these actors in these kinds of roles. And I think that's what I have always appreciated about it is you see George Clooney in a role that's not typically associated with George Clooney. You see Brad Pitt in a way that's not typically associated with Brad Pitt. And it just continues to balloon into this stupid bunch of morons. And it just escalates because nobody really cares, but no one's stopping it. And to me, it's just very funny. And then when JK shows up and is everyone in the audience, it's perfect.
Okay. I'll go to David next. I'm very excited about.
So we've talked about a lot of Brad Pitt movies.
We have.
These last few days. We talked about his highest grossing film, his probably most iconic film in Fight Club. We talked about the movie in probably which he should have been nominated for best lead actor, maybe in Jesse James, or at least best supporting actor. I don't know how that works.
Mm-hmm.
But now we have come to probably his dumbest movie with Burn After Reading. And I'll be straightforward. I didn't like it. I'm not sure what I was supposed to get from it.
Nothing.
It clearly was supposed to be kind of a comedy of errors in ways, but to me, the key part of that needs to be the comedy, and it didn't really make me laugh other than the pure shock value. Spoiler alert, the pure shock value of a dildo chair. That completely caught me off guard. I thought I would like it because I'm a Coen Brothers guy. I really like most Coen Brothers movies. And I defend some of them to the death, even though there are other movies that people hate that are Coen Brothers movies that I like. This, for whatever reason, just I don't know. It didn't. It just. I'm going to say something, and Andrew will be the only one to agree with me. I feel like, in terms of a Coen Brothers movie, I really missed Roger Deakins because this almost didn't even have the. It almost didn't feel like Coen Brothers watching it, which it's so hard to put your thumb on. But when I look up afterwards and see that it's not Roger Deakins behind doing the cinematography, it's like, oh, that's why it felt kind of weird. That's why it felt off. I just couldn't. I couldn't figure out who I was supposed to attach to, if anyone. Like, I just didn't feel like there was anybody that really I was like on their side. And it felt like even the people that were like likable were just like I don't even know if anybody was likable. I'm always entertained by the actors themselves. I think did entertaining jobs. I think George Clooney was entertaining. I think Brad Pitt was entertaining. I think Tilda Swinton was entertaining. I don't know what it was that put John Malkovich on the map, but I've yet to see a John Malkovich performance that I like. It's just it always seems to be just guy who says F word a lot. And that seemed to be the comedy of the movie was just, let's just say the F word a lot, and that'll be funny. It just was weak for me overall. I hate to say that because I looked it up and a lot of people like the movie. It's widely, you got a lot of 4 out of 5 stars. A lot of people love it for its anti-spy nature, but I was just watching, just going, what am I supposed to get out of this? I just don't know.
Nothing.
It just
This
nothing.
movie reminds me of
Well, I don't want a
modern-day
movie where I get
version
nothing out of it.
of The Man Who Knew Too Little. Andrew, you've seen that movie, yes?
I have.
This movie is that. It is
Yeah.
the man who there's a bunch of idiots who got themselves into a stupid situation because they're stupid. There is no one likable. It is an absurd situation.
I feel like
The situation itself is the point. It's not the
Yeah.
characters. You're not supposed to like anyone. It is the absurdity. And then you get, for me, the movie really kicks in when J.K. shows up. Like,
The
for
movie-
me, everyone in this movie is like, what are these stupid people doing? And then he is the
And
same way.
And I said this, J.K. Simmons is the only saving grace here because you could give J.K. Simmons, I mean, this is such a cliche, but you could give J.K. Simmons a phone book, okay? And it would be interesting. You could give J.K. Simmons box office stats and he would make it sound interesting because he's J.K. Simmons. He's incapable of not being interesting. He's like Sam Rockwell 2 weeks ago, incapable of not being an interesting on-scene performer. And that's the thing, the actors are all fine in this, but the absurdity, I guess the thing is you have to buy into what it is. And I just for whatever reason, it's not for me absurd enough of a premise of a couple of idiots find what they think are government secrets.
That January 6th, bro. This is January 6th.
I know in some ways it does seem like it's weirdly prophetic, but it's not, unfortunately. It's just, I don't know. It just, to me, was lackluster. I was pleasantly surprised at the 1 hour and 6 mark to find out I only had 20 minutes left.
So
I hate to be that guy. I know Andrew said in the past he doesn't like it, but
Yeah.
I was genuinely shocked to not enjoy this as much as I thought I would.
go into Andrew.
I'm gonna
I
let Josh.
haven't liked this for a long time.
I'm gonna let
You're
Josh.
gonna let me go? Okay, you sure you want to do that?
No, Andrew, you go because you're going to bring it down. And Josh will hopefully bring it back up.
Okay.
We need that.
Well,
We need middle.
so
And then like,
what I'm gonna say is this: I love all the people in this movie. I do. I genuinely do. Coen Brothers movies are very hit or miss with me. There are some Coen Brothers movies that I absolutely love, and there are some that I just don't care for. This hits all the elements of a Coen Brothers movie. This was just not something that I cared for. I didn't like any of the characters outside of J.K. Simmons. Outside of J.K. Simmons, and I'll even give Brad Pitt. I feel like Brad Pitt and J.K. Simmons both were the comedic relief. Because other than that, I didn't get anything else out of this movie other than there was just like really just bad people being stupid. And
or
yeah,
stupid people being bad.
it's fine to see their comeuppance, It's fine to see their everybody everybody getting everything that they deserve. But at the same time, everything that happened was just bad. And I just, the first time I watched this movie, I actually shut it off. And I was like, I can't do this anymore. Fast forward to yesterday when I played it again, and I felt like I was like, well, I'll give this another shot. Maybe I might like it. No, I didn't. I did not like it at all. This movie was just shit smeared on toast, and I just can't get behind it. I'm sorry, Joel, Ethan Coen. You guys got to have a better imagination than that. Furthermore, what I must say is that this is like all of their typical Coen people, but just I don't know what the substance was. I couldn't find it. I couldn't connect with it. Maybe it was just me not having a sense of humor, but
It was that.
yeah.
You're right on it.
Sometimes you look at the movie as a piece of art because you're a film critic, and sometimes movies are not pieces of art.
I see this as a piece of art. I do.
Oh, go for it then.
I absolutely
transition into it.
I'm
Go.
very fascinated to see where the joke.
First of all, unfortunately for you two, neither of you said any reason why it was bad. You just kept saying it
mean?
was bad
It
What
was
do you mean?
without giving a reason.
Get-
No, you
plenty of
didn't. No, you didn't. No, you didn't.
Movie's affectionless, cold, and it doesn't have any interesting characters in it. Those are all reasons I
disagree with the characters.
Absolutely disagree with the characters. I don't know what is not to like about this movie, quite frankly. There are a few moments where I'm not laughing. The characters are all, because they're so dumb, I find them wildly likable.
Yeah.
The way that
Barney Stinson.
not Tilda Swinton, Frances McDormand is just this. She just wants plastic surgery. That's all she wants, and she'll do anything to get it. But she's like, there's no thoughts in there. I laughed so hard when she just goes, I'm Linda Linsky. She's just so empty. And watching them go through the links that they go through, which, mind you, for Brad Pitt is really nothing. He doesn't, he's just kind of going along with his friend because he's the excited puppy who just wants to walk with you.
Right.
So I like all that. I thought the story was funny and interesting enough, like this idea that a pretty low level government guy has, through an assortment of errors, misplaced his CD with information on it that had nothing of value, would turn into this big, stupid heist type situation where they can't even get anybody to take the secrets from them.
Right.
I don't know. It's very funny.
Yeah. In theory, in execution, I don't know. I kept waiting for it to develop into the comedy part for me. I don't know. I mean, it's just such a fascinating the split between us here.
I knew this one would be divisive.
I feel like
because Andrew and I are always very well, to be fair, I haven't seen a ton of Coen Brothers movies, but the ones that I have seen are the ones that Andrew hates. I really like this one, and I really like Inside Llewyn Davis, and Andrew really hates both of them, minus the soundtrack of Inside Llewyn Davis.
Yes.
But I find them both ridiculous and very humorous in very interesting ways. But it's not for everyone, and I know that this one has been divisive in the past with people they either really like.
But not really, though. It's pretty well liked.
It's well received. Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know I know the critics really like it. I don't know what the audience interpreted it as.
Yeah.
I know it won our fan vote.
It won our fan vote. It made a good amount of money.
It's also got a
Which
quick
will-
answer for the time frame. And that's let's move into that, because for me, that's what I really appreciate the most about this movie, is that you get to see these well-respected actors, with the exception of John Malkovich, who's already kind of just doing an angry John Malkovich thing. But everyone else, to me, seems so different than what we stereotype them as or typically cast them as, and they're getting to do something so different. And I really appreciated that. And I think the performances and the effort that they put into them is where, for me, it excels. It seems like they are all just really enjoying being a part of this movie. And that enjoyment carries over for me. I can feel that they are really enjoying it, being a part of this ridiculousness. And that for me carries over. I think this is Brad Pitt's most giftable role. I think that his dancing and his hair is just perfect every time. He's really just leaning into that ridiculousness that he can own. And he's just the stupid pretty boy, which is something that you don't see from him very often, even though he looks the way that he looks. He has usually got some depth. He didn't have any this time. It was just stupid. And George Clooney, again, getting to see him as like a womanizer, creep, nasty kind of person. It's just fun to watch the
Paranoid
that way.
Paranoid. That was his. That was one of the elements of his character that I enjoyed about this particular thing was that John Clooney, George Clooney's character is like he's like just completely paranoid about everything, and I don't know if it's stemming from his serial cheating or if it's just a hazard of his job, but he's just seeing phantoms everywhere. But actually, it turns out they're not phantoms; they're very real. He's just seeing like people following him. He's worried about like, is there soy in this? What is this? That types of stuff. So yeah, it is fun to see these, big, these kind of like Academy actors kind of doing something a little bit different. But yeah, I don't know. I don't know. It's a very, very strange place to be. Very strange film.
It is
It's not shockingly only 90 minutes. I'm going to skip further into spoiler territory here. When Brad Pitt died, I was like, huh, this may not have been the best pick for Pick a Pit since he just died like an hour into the movie. And then I pull up the thing and go, oh, there's only about 25 minutes left. So really he's 2/3 of the way. But for a long time I was like, this is great for Malkovich May because like the early part of this movie is just John Malkovich for a long time, seemingly.
And like, I also want to comment on the fact, like, I love Richard Jenkins.
Yeah.
Richard Jenkins is such an offbeat just character, but everything he's in is just so good. And here's another spoiler, the way that he dies is tragic. Because really all he was doing was just trying to help out his friend.
Yeah.
And he dies in a very horrible way.
Well, this is very much, this gave me, that was the part of the movie that in terms of a Coen Brothers film gave me very much like, I don't know. There's so many movies you could compare it to, but it's like one of those things where like the bad guys kind of like get away and the innocent people get are the ones who end up suffering a lot in their movies. It's just one of those things like he's not, sure. In the moment he did break into that guy's house, but it's just kind of like, he was trying the whole time to be the voice of reason, saying, don't do this. And so it's like, he's the one who ends up getting hurt.
I love Glenn Litsky, and he was trying to convey that she was, and I wanted that, and she just wouldn't see it. And
I really wanted
to hear it. So he finally did the thing, and then, she ruined it for him.
I really wanted Linda to die. I got to be honest. There was a lot of
the people. The most hateable ones are the ones that live all the time in real life and in the movies.
Yeah, and unfortunately, it's. And what is that satisfying? Does that make for a good conclusion? I don't know. Like the people who you dislike the most end up just disappearing. Like George Clooney just disappears off screen. I keep calling him John for some reason. George Clooney just disappears off screen and he's never seen again. Tilda Swinton just leaves at some point, never seen again. That was a part of the movie that I felt, looking into it, they had a hard time scheduling a lot of these actors to be together, so they had to kind of ride around that a little bit. Like Tilda Swinton's like almost removed from the entire film, except for a handful of scenes with George Clooney and John Malkovich. She has no agency in this movie after like losing the disc, because like that was a part of the movie that really confused me. I was like, oh, eventually she's gonna figure out that it's the stuff she had. She's the one who downloaded that stuff. He's gonna figure out, hey, you downloaded my things. No, pretty much once they determine, oh, it was the secretary out there lost the disc. That's it. Like there's really no connection for her in the story, so she just disappears. And so like there's a I felt like there were a lot of things that seemed like they were setting up that they just didn't capitalize on. They didn't bring in. I was waiting for a big confrontation between John Malkovich and Tilda Swinton over this divorce. Never came. I was waiting for, I really liked George Clooney intimidating the store clerk from The Big Bang Theory, but I was really hoping that would generate something there with in terms of his comeuppance, and it didn't really. But I don't know. I don't know. I finished the film and I just didn't feel anything. So I mean, I didn't laugh. I didn't cry. I was mostly just glad it was over.
True Grit was way better.
True Grit. I mean,
don't
I
know
could
what to say.
go down a whole list of Coen Brothers movies I'm going to put ahead of this one. But yeah, I am shocked because usually in a scenario like this, I think it's like Andrew and I like the movie, and you guys are the ones who hate it.
I don't know. I don't know what to say. I've liked this movie every time I've seen it.
Same. I was really worried.
Cracks me up.
Holding for me. It's been a while since I've seen it, and I just know that some movies don't hold up for me.
My little brother
One that I bought. This is one that I own, and I will continue to gladly put it on my movie shelf.
My little brother Daniel, I'd be glad to never watch it again. My little brother Daniel saw this movie back in 2009 after it had come on to like a DVD or something, like rented it back when you could rent movies at a store. And he watched it, and he was under the impression, because it was George Clooney and Brad Pitt. This was before we were kind of wizened up to how things work. But he's like, "Oh, it's George Clooney and Brad Pitt. This is going to be another Ocean's 11 type thing." And they're like trying to steal something. Oh, great. Watched it. He came in. He goes, "Don't watch it."
And then he got a dildo chair instead.
Exactly. He goes, it was weird. And George Clooney slept with some woman that looked like a bird. It was like really, really weird. Don't watch it. I was like, okay. And all these years, I just thought to myself, Daniel was probably just, 16, not ready for, whatever that type of movie was. He went in with the wrong impression. No, he was right. He was right.
Wow. No. Well, unfortunately, he was also wrong. No, I just love how much of a anti-spy movie it is. I love how the stakes are the opposite of high, the polar opposite of high.
Yeah, and
at no point are the stakes high, and then the movie ends with the government going, what a waste of time.
Well, the stakes are
pay
high.
it off.
The stakes are low. The stakes are low, but unfortunately, the consequences are extremely high because at least two people.
Well, that's where the idiocy comes into play.
And so, like, the thing is, I'm fine with that as on paper. Like, reading the premise of the movie, I was like, oh, this sounds really funny. But it never got to the funny part. Like, nothing about it was ever like a laugh, like a haha. Like, most of the best actors in the movie don't even really end up interacting. Like, there's no scenes between, like, honestly, a full scene between Brad Pitt and George Clooney would probably be hilarious. Frances McDormand interacting with John Malkovich would be pretty funny. We get none of that. Oh, well.
You do get a great scene of Brad Pitt on the phone with John Malkovich.
That was
again, I found
that was really funny.
Oh, interesting that you found it funny. Very interesting.
Him really
Glad you
trying
admit
to
it.
double down on the thing where he's like Osborne Cox, and he's trying to say that.
I wonder if he went by the name Mr. Black, and I wonder if that was a Meek Joe Black reference.
Could be a Meek Joe Black reference. Could be a Pulp Fiction reference. Who knows?
I don't know.
Although the Coen Brothers aren't really reference people that I know of, so
yeah,
not particularly. I'm surprised. For some reason, Andrew, it always surprises me when you say that their movies are hit and miss for you. They seem like movies you would like every one of them.
Not every one of them.
There's only one Coen Brothers movie I've seen that I don't like, and it's not this one.
And that is
A Serious Man.
Oh yeah, that movie stuff.
Now, here's
I never
what I'll
saw
say
that
about
one.
A Serious Man. Like A
Sucks.
Serious Man, I didn't think
Sucks.
was
Oh,
great,
it does suck. No, it sucks.
but it's got interesting
doesn't.
interesting premises.
No.
well, that's this for me. It's an interesting premise, but I just don't feel like it executes as funny as it could be, as it wants to be.
Okay.
Yeah, well, let's do the box office then.
Okay, maybe
reading.
There you go.
Unless anybody has anything else.
Before we do that, I have something that I've prepared. I went through our Pick a Pit movies, and I came up with some stats, some statistics for you, if you will. And I want to read this off. So we talked about this one a little bit last week. So of the 5 Brad Pitt movies picked during Pick a Pit, 4 of them were based on books. 4 out of 5, not bad. In 3 out of 5, Brad Pitt is punched in the face. In another,
How did you find that stat, or did you just think of that?
thought to myself, he gets punched in
Wait.
the face in Bullet Train. He gets
Yeah.
punched in the face in this movie, Burn After Reading, and he gets punched in the face in Fight Club. At least,
But he didn't get punched in Jesse James.
never got punched in the face in Jesse James.
Wow.
Shot.
Yeah, he gets shot.
Yeah, that's stat number 2. In 3 out of the 5 movies, he gets shot in the head. He gets shot in the head in Fight Club. He gets shot in the head in this movie, Burn After Reading, and he gets shot in the head in Jesse James.
Wow.
But
Okay.
did he get shot in the head, or did Ed Norton get shot in the head?
That's the thing, is he's one of the same. DID, all that. He,
Huh.
all that. So in 3 of the 5, narration is involved at some point. World War Z had narration at the end. Jesse James had narration all throughout, and then Ed Norton narrates most of Fight Club.
These are weird.
Right? This is just me looking at the movies and picking through them.
I liked it.
There are 4, counting up the movie Ocean's 8, there are 4 Ocean's alumni in these movies with him. Casey Affleck, George Clooney, Sandra Bullock was in Ocean's 8, as was Helena Bonham Carter.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
And then finally, and this is one that I don't put a ton of stock in this particular thing, but I do think it's an interesting conversation to have. Out of all 5 movies, 0 passed the Bechdel test.
Well, most movies don't.
I know. And then none of them passed the Bechdel test, which, if you're unaware of the Bechdel test, is this, what do you want to say, feminine theory. It's not necessarily a scholarly theory, just a feminine theory put forward in which you can judge a movie female representation based on the idea that it has more than one female character with a name, and that those 2 characters at some point are allowed to speak to each other about something other than men. And so naturally, if you take a cross-section of Brad Pitt's movies, there's a lot of them that might not pass. And then there will be some that do. So I just thought it was interesting, though, as I was going through trying to pick out things, commonalities, and things like that.
Maybe we need to do a month of movies that pass the Bechdel test.
That
Because
might
it would be all 4 of
Good
them.
idea.
it might be an interesting week.
We also, did you find any stats on how many of these movies he was eating in? I have heard
did.
often that he really likes to eat in movies. Like,
I haven't, but I was
especially
pretty
all throughout
sure.
the Ocean's movies, Rusty's eating an apple or something in every one. For some reason, he really likes the idea of eating after. So
I wanted to do that. I thought about it. I'm pretty sure at some point he probably eats in all of them. I didn't have the wherewithal to. I don't have the ability to go back and rewatch Bullet Train to see if he ate anything. I know he drinks.
Yeah.
But other than that, so those are just some things that came to mind. I probably could have figured out more, but yeah, I thought those were some interesting stats.
nice.
We'll call them stats, some commonalities that I noticed.
Yeah.
So let's look at Burn After Reading. Box office stats. It came out in September of 2008. I think a critically acclaimed, very good year. Box office year, actually a little bit down. Year to year, you would think. You might be surprised to know. So Burn After Reading, interesting thing here, opened against 3 other movies. There were 4 new movies in the box office that weekend. Burn After Reading was the number 1 movie, opening to $19.1 million. Number 2, do you guys remember this movie? It's called The Family That Prays. And pray is spelled like, excuse me, I dropped my pen. Pray is spelled like Rey. The Family That Prays. I don't remember that movie. That brought in 17.8. And number 3, a movie called Righteous Kill, brought in 16.2. I don't remember that one either. And number 4, you had The Women, brought in 10.1. So you have your top 4 is all 10 million plus movies. Not a bad week. At number 5, you have Tropic Thunder in its 5th week, bringing in 4.1. And just, I'll make a note of these ones because I know Garrett loves this movie. At number 6 that weekend, also bringing in 4 million, was The House Bunny in its 4th.
Oh my God, The House Bunny, great movie. Go watch it.
I would
And
say
at
The House
number-
Bunny is way better than Burn After Reading.
It's so much better than you.
I
expect.
wouldn't.
I'll go with that.
I said
It
what I
is.
said.
And then at number 7, also bringing in 4 million was The Dark Knight in its 9th week in the box office of that year. For the year, Burn After Reading would go on to make $60.3 million in the United States, $103 million overseas, for a worldwide total of $163 million. That's good enough for the number 52 spot in the U.S. and the number 44 spot in worldwide that year. Number 1 for both domestic and worldwide charts that year was The Dark Knight, bringing in $1 billion worldwide, $500 million domestically. Iron Man Indiana Jones, King of the Crystal Skull, Wall-E, Kung Fu Panda, Twilight, Quantum of Solace, which you can watch you can listen to.
I was gonna say,
Quantum of
some of those we have done. Some
Yes.
We've done some of those. Hancock came out that year. Marley and Me. I'm trying to look it up. Slumdog Millionaire, I believe. Was that Best Picture that year, Andrew? Slumdog
Yes.
Millionaire. So yeah. Also another Brad Pitt movie came out that year. Curious Case of Benjamin Button. So,
That's a
2008.
interesting movie.
I think critically a pretty good year, right?
one of the best years in recent memory.
So that's all I have to say about that. Let's move on
Okay.
to Letterboxd game.
Sure. I did want to say a quick little trivia thing I came across during that real quick was that made me laugh. George Clooney calls this movie Burn After Reading, along with Oh Brother, Where Art Thou and Intolerable Cruelty, his Coen Brothers trilogy of idiots.
Yeah.
Because
I think I've heard you say that.
he plays a wild idiot in every one of those movies. And so, I don't know, he likes that. Yes, the Letterboxd game. Da, 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 da. There's my tab. I have not seen it yet. I will say that most of the top reviews are either too inappropriate for me to say or are really just quotes. So, for quotes from the movie. So, we'll just go straight into the guessing.
I'm going to say that
Anyone will throw out first?
Yeah. I'm going to say the community is against me on this. So I'm going to say it's a 3.7.
Okay, we got a 3. We got 3.7.
Gonna go that high. I think they're middles. I think it's like a 3.2.
Okay,
I'm going to do
Andrew?
3.1.
okay.
Just undercutting you.
I'm gonna do 3. I'm gonna do 3.4, I guess, and cut all those in half. Okay, so okay, we do not have a direct hit,
Oh, good.
but we
Bad.
do have a winner who is off by 1, and I regret to inform you that was me. It has a 3.5.
Peter. What was your guess?
Ginger
3.4?
pumpkin, yeah.
That's
Yeah,
good. That's over.
3.5 from 183,000 ratings.
That's Josh's first win in a little while.
Uh-oh.
Oh, I didn't even know I needed it. Dang.
Yeah, Josh, you needed that. That was your first win since Jurassic World,
Woof. I did need it then.
which that was a lot of
Okay.
reviews ago.
Well, let me get out my calculator because I feel like our review average is going to be funky.
Yeah.
So, all right, who wants to throw out their rating first?
I wanted Garrett. You go.
For me, this is a 3.5. It's very entertaining, very enjoyable. I really like it.
Oh wow, that is lower than I thought you were going
With
to
how
go.
funny it apparently is, I thought you were going to say
That
like
is-
4.5
yeah.
stars. Josh.
For me it's a 4.
Okay. For me, I'm going to be the best I can give you is a 2.5.
That's higher than
interesting.
expected.
That's
You
it.
rate high, though. I forget your scale skews high. You're very,
My
you're
scale?
very nice, David. You're very nice.
2.5 is 2.5 is the disappointing part of the scale. So like if it's disappointing, but it doesn't necessarily fall to like just like this wasn't so awful that I was like, ugh, this is awful.
Right.
I'm just so disappointed in this
You just
movie.
weren't
I thought it'd be
into
bad.
it. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Andrew.
Get the 2 from Andrew.
Okay, well that makes it a 3, an even 3.
Oh, wow. How about that? Look at how math works.
The numbers don't lie.
The numbers
they
don't
don't.
lie. All right, well, that is the end of Pick a Pit August. I would tell you what we're doing next, but quite frankly, I don't remember if we've even decided. So you'll have to check us out online at somanysequels.com. You can find
Hey,
stuff
let's go
there.
rank these Brad Pitt movies, too. We've got a few minutes
Oh,
left.
yeah, sure.
Oh, let me think about it.
Oh, yeah, now
I know. Now we're on the
do we have enough time?
Rolled in, yeah.
We got enough time.
I got, based on the ones that we've watched, for me, I think I had the most fun watching Burn After Reading. I'm going to put that one at the top. Fight Club was second. A Bullet Train. Jesse James. And what was the other one?
I don't even remember.
World War Z.
World War Z.
Yep. See? Forget about
Okay,
ones every now and then.
mine is World War Z at the bottom, then Bullet Train. Then Bullet Train, then Fight Club, then Jesse James, and Burn After Reading.
Wow, what a shocking list. For me, all the way coming in at the bottom is Burn After Reading.
Yeah.
Just above that is World War Z, aka World War Snore, or World War Z's, because I was asleep.
Ah.
After that, it's Fight Club. Then it's Assassination of Jesse James. Number 1 is his new movie, Bullet Train. That movie is a blast. Watch it
I would
again right
go
now.
with number 5 being Burn After Reading. 4, World War Z. 3, Bullet Train. 2, The Assassination of Jesse James. And number 1 being Fight Club.
Fight
God,
Club. Number
no.
1 for Andrew. There we go. All right.
I really wish he was on that episode because I'd really love to hear your analysis of Fight Club.
I love it.
You don't have time. We don't have time, but we'll get into it.
Y'all do like
I have a lot of
short
I have a lot of
things
questions.
about.
I wonder if there's a way I can average out that score. I don't know.
You do
Jesse
whatever you
James
gotta
is really
do.
high for all of us, though.
True that. Probably it would average to the highest if we did ranked choice.
Mm.
Okay. Find us online, SoManySequels.com. Links to our socials are there. Patreon.com/SoManySequels. You can subscribe for $1 and join us in our Discord where we hang out and talk about all kinds of fun stuff.
Come on down.
So go do that, and we will see you next week with something else. Probably not with Brad Pitt in it. But I can't promise that, but probably not. We'll see ya.